I'm safe from the evils of Superwholock. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Doctor What? Today, Sarah and myself, Jeannette, if you forgot, are going to be covering Episode 5 of Series 1 of Doctor Who World War III. A lot of numbers in there. The synopsis of which is, with the threat of interplanetary war looming, the human race prepare for the end, little knowing their enemies lie at the heart of the British government. As the Ninth Doctor, Rose Tyler, and new friend Harriet Jones battled for their lives in 10 Downing Street, the Slitheen family set their plans for the destruction of Earth into motion. With the world changing around him, the Doctor is powerless, and it seems only Mickey Smith can save the world.
Mickey!
Dude, win for the Mickey fans in the audience. This episode was so Epic Mickey. Not to be confused with the video game, Epic Mickey.
Is that a video game?
Yes, it was for the Wii, and it was Mickey Mouse and Oswald the rabbit, and you, like, painted stuff. I used to watch a lot of, like, really angsty AMVs for Epic Mickey without ever playing the game. It was like, never be afraid again. Like, dude, you're Mickey Mouse.
Why?
I don't know. It was very strange.
I can't judge you for watching angsty AMVs because I was a brony Pegasister.
So was I! Literally, so was I. Discord, I'm howling at the moon and sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon.
Have you seen the Skyfall AMV with Princess Celestia?
Yes.
I loved that one.
It's so good. It's so good. For all of you in our wide, vast audience, your homework is to watch the Skyfall Princess Celestia AMV right now. Do it. Pause the episode right now. And then we'll get back to Doctor Who with some fun facts, Sarah, about this episode.
All right. I have better fun facts this time. So I got them from BBC America's Anglophenia website, which I feel like was such a staple in my Whovian days. I would always be looking up like things about Doctor Who, and I would always end up on Anglophenia because I was obsessed with British people, like most Americans in the early 2010s. Dude, in my head, like, we have a huge British audience and they like hate us. We are recording this a month before you're gonna hear it, and you might not be British and you don't even exist yet. You are so far from existing. But just so you know, in my head, you're British and you hate us.
Bam! Anglification beam! You're British now!
Okay, so whatchamacallit. Okay. When a member of the Slitheen disguised as a policeman turns up at Mickey's flat and starts to unzip his forehead, the word Salford can be clearly seen graffitied on the wall behind him. Salford is the city in which Christopher Eccleston was born.
Oh, okay, that's fun. Oh, so this is a continuation of the graffiti Easter eggs that we saw from last episode.
Yes.
Oh, you told me to pay attention to that, and then I completely forgot until the end of the episode where the kid's, like, washing the graffiti off. I was like, oh, there's the graffiti again. I totally forgot.
Because that was, like, very clever of Russell T Davies, because I feel like he knew that people might not notice the Bad Wolf graffiti on the TARDIS initially, so he, like, put in a point of the Doctor, like, making a kid wash off the graffiti, so that you would be like, huh, what was that graffiti again? And you would, like, go back and check.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Wow.
And did you know that World War III is the first story in Doctor Who that shows the TARDIS with a working telephone?
Huh. I did not know that. That's very exciting.
And this is the last fact that I'm going to share. Okay, this is going to add in to, like, the evil British audience, like, in my head. Can you tell that I have anxiety? So, Anxiety is when like British people hate you in your head and they're not real.
Like it's Anglophobia or something. Like, but instead of
Yeah,
you hating
what?
them or being afraid of them, they're like afraid or hate you.
What is like a
Saraphobia.
phobia? Saraphobia specifically. What's a phobia against Americans? Just like American phobia?
Actually, that's a really good question. I don't know. I'll have to look that up for next episode.
We can just like have a poll and like ask our listeners. I'm sure that like they're gonna know.
Oh, I'm sure. All right, comment down below. All right, third fun fact.
There is an intentional moment of political satire in the speech given by the head of the Slitheen to the waiting press in Downing Street. He refers to, quote, massive weapons of destruction capable of being deployed in, quote, 45 seconds, a parody of the British government's 2002 dossier that allegedly claimed Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction that could be leveled at the UK in 45 minutes. The Slitheen plan could therefore be said to be a sarcastic retelling of Britain's case for going to war in Iraq.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is actually very clever, and I never would have known that unless you read that fun fact out because I'm not British.
No, yeah, like it's so. Also, okay, I guess we're gonna like go into the episode now because
Mhm.
I read when I was looking for fun facts, I came across a review. Unfortunately, I did not see the person's username, so I don't know who said this, but if you're listening and you hear me, I love you. They pointed out the political commentary throughout these two episodes, which I literally just like didn't even notice, though now looking back it's so apparent the fact that they're all disguised as politicians. I know it's like part of their plan, but like the fact that they are these politicians that seem like so serious on the outside, but on the inside they're just like money grubbing like monsters.
Yeah, yeah. Especially considering that one line where the doctor and the female Slitheen, they're talking at each other, and the doctor's like, you would, at the cost of 7 billion souls, you would, turn the planet into a hunk of junk, and she's like, yeah, that's a bargain. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That really, I was like, oh my God, like tea. But
No,
yeah,
for
that's
sure.
that's really great commentary that politicians are capitalists, or they don't actually care about the people. You'll never find an uncorrupt politician. That's pretty clever.
For sure. And speaking of which, I really liked how because I'm going to be saying this throughout the entire show. I feel like I've said it plenty in the past four episodes. I literally did not remember so much of this.
Hmm.
It's like I remember the main plot points, but I completely forgot for some reason that the Slitheen were like a family who were going to Earth to make money off of it by destroying it and like selling it for parts. I
Hmm.
feel like in my head I just like rewrote the script to be that like they were aliens coming to like take over the world or whatever, like as you do. And I was like pleasantly surprised by like the little twist that like they were actually just like a family business and that
Yeah.
destroying the earth really just like meant nothing but money. Very like unexpected in sci-fi in general.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a nice change from the typical, take me to your leader, we're gonna take over the world alien plot. It was a little bit more biting alongside the political commentary. And it kind of reminded me of, I don't know if you watch Star Trek.
No, I've caught a few episodes of Next Generation, but
Hmm.
not really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch Star Trek either, so this might be
Okay.
completely wrong. But the Ferengi are this race of people who are like basically just like capitalists as an alien race, and so that using your aliens as kind of a vehicle for socioeconomic commentary is something that I think is cool and could be done more, but perhaps isn't, and is only done in the two places that I even know of, which is Star Trek and now Doctor Who. Or I mean, basically all of Dune is socioeconomic, political, whatever with the spice, but
That's
we don't have
true.
to get into Dune. Dune is crazy.
Yeah, I feel like Dune is also on a different like level than Star Trek and Doctor Who, just
Yeah.
like because it's like based on like a book series and there's just like it's like very like metaphorical and like I feel like Doctor Who and Star Trek are more like they're like the fun sci-fi. They're more
Yes.
like fandom
Yes.
focused. When you think of like those two shows, you think of how long running they are and how like
Right.
how big the fandom and how long running the fandom has
And the
been.
gay
Like it's
sex.
just and the gay sex. I Dude, okay. Speaking of gay sex,
Ooh.
that scene in the elevator between those two guys where he's like, your body is magnificent. And he's like, I need to be naked. And like, you're telling me they're like brothers? Like,
I am so glad that you brought that up because that also made me like pause for a second and be like, guys, what's going on right now? That was crazy. I feel like they just wanted to throw in every quote unquote villainous trait they could. Like, oh, and they're homosexual and incestuous as well? Just pile it on there. But I don't know if that's actually true and if it was just like a weird one-off. I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
like there's something that can come off as homoerotic that sci-fi races do where they're like, we are strong and beautiful, brother. Like, our race is amazing. And it comes off as kind of like weird and gay. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like racist.
Yeah, racist. Yeah, yeah.
Like, I mean, I know that there's like a more like apt word for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like space racism. We're gonna see a lot more of that. But yeah, just like that you think that like you and your people are like the best ever, and you think that they're so great that like you get a little gay about it.
Yes, it's like it's not nationalism. Like I'm just thinking of like what are words that are aligned
Fascism.
with fascism? Yeah, that's exactly it. But it's like the race part of fascism that's like we as a nation race like are better. Obviously, we are neither of us are poli sci guys or like anything like that, but
Okay, well, I did take a class on contemporary fascism. I did minor
oh.
in sociocultural anthropology. I don't know if I ever told you
Ooh.
that.
You didn't. That's
Um,
awesome. That's really cool.
yeah, we actually talked about this in my contemporary fascism class. We were analyzing. Have you seen Olympia?
No, I have not.
So, Olympia is a recording of. Fuck, I forget the year. You know when, like, the Olympics took place in Nazi Germany, like, right before World War II? Was it, like,
Is it?
33?
Yes, yes. I think it's 33 or
Okay.
32.
Yeah, so the accounts of the Olympics are recorded and made into a movie and released. And there's a part at the beginning of the movie. It's a two-parter, so I don't know if this is at the beginning of part one or part two, but it shows all these like, blonde, white, Aryan looking German boys like naked and like bathing and like
Oh,
running around together and like playing sports, and it's meant to be like very manly, like these are like the
yes.
good Aryan boys, and like look at how strong their bodies are, and like look at
Yes.
how like, like unified they are. But there is like an element of like homoeroticism and also just like eroticizing like youth and like putting so much
Yeah.
emphasis like on like one's body.
Yeah. Very Greco-Roman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did take a class not on like fascism per se, but on gender and sexuality in ancient Greece and also in ancient Rome. And we
Mm.
talked a lot about how fascism was modeling itself, like a lot of the way that they talk about youth and bodies and athleticism, how Nazi Germany and especially Mussolini's Italy, they modeled
Mm.
themselves after ancient Greece and also in ancient Rome. Yeah, so that is very interesting to hear about. Also, it was the 1936 Olympics. The 32
36.
Olympics were the Los Angeles ones that Hitler was like, we have to be better than the Los Angeles Olympics.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So
All right.
The
Yeah. So this.
Slitheen are fascist is our conclusion here.
I don't think they're like developed enough to be fascists, and I also think that like this is like a family business. They don't really talk enough about like their race. Besides that one moment of like your body is magnificent, like it's really just about like our family is great and we're gonna make a profit. So I don't think that we can call them fascists.
Fair enough.
They're just like aggressively capitalist, and also I think honestly, I don't know if you know this, and I think it's worth saying that Russell T Davies is a gay man.
Oh, okay, swag.
Yeah. So while it is possible for gay people to have homophobia in the texts that they produce just because we live in like a homophobic society and like not every gay person is like perfect and exactly the same. I think it is like entirely possible that he thought that was funny and put it in and like that's it.
That is true. That is
But
true.
yeah, but that doesn't like, deter from like the importance of having conversations about fascism
Yeah. Wow.
in
Right
general.
on.
Yeah.
Right on, Sarah. Did you just meow?
Dude, it's like a problem. I like walk, oh my God, I'm at work, I'm like meowing to myself, I'm like, shit. It's become like a stim, not to be cringe, but like,
Hey, kill the part of you that cringes, not the part of you
I do,
that's cringe.
T, that, wasn't that like a popular Tumblr text post in like 2015?
Oh yeah, I mean it also is popular
Not,
again now, I think. But
yeah,
it's true. We're literally
it holds
doing a
true.
Doctor Who podcast right now. Like, you know.
I can't. Yeah, no, I've killed a part of me that cringes about Doctor Who because I love it so much. Speaking of which, what was your best part? What was your best part for this episode?
My best part, okay, so this episode, it was very specific what my best part is. The scene where the doctor is trying to get Harriet and Rose to narrow down like traits about the Slitheen to identify who they are, like what planet they're from, and like what their weaknesses are. When they're listing off crap and they're like, oh, it smells like XYZ, and then he's like, oh, calcium decay. And then they're like, okay, what can we do to take these out? Oh, we want acidic things like vinegar or something. And Harriet's like, just like Hannibal. And the
Oh,
doctor
I
goes,
knew
just
you would
like
like that
Hannibal.
part.
I literally, like, my jaw dropped. Jaw dropped. I was like, no way did they just make a Hannibal Barca reference in Doctor Who, which of course they did because British people get a classical education. But for those of you who don't know, there is an account in Livy who wrote a history of Rome ab urbe condita. And in, I think it's book 21, he's describing the Hannibal crossing the Alps and how they used boiling vinegar to make bigger like cracks in the rock so they could get like the force through. It was just awesome. I was like, "Oh my god, no way, Livy reference. Livy reference." I literally wrote like a math. I'm presenting at a conference, God willing, and the Creek don't rise, in March on Livy. So I
Oh
was like, oh
my
my
God, that's
god,
so cool.
yeah, yeah, it should be cool. It is about Livy Book One. I won't go into it, but if they accept my abstract, then I'll be presenting there.
They will.
But yeah, I just love that. And also extensive I love Harriet. If
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't the one who said that, this would still be my favorite part, but just the fact that she's the one who made the reference in the first place, I'm obsessed with her. She is like my favorite character, bar none. She's amazing. Queen Harriet.
Yeah, I was gonna say like as if you could love Harriet like anymore, you know?
Exactly. It like she was made for me. She was made for me for real.
And she's an older woman.
Older woman, Slayer, knows her classics, knows her Livy. Like, I'm just saying, kind of a MILF. Not gonna lie.
She's a baddie. I love when older women are just like existing in the media I consume. I feel like we so rarely see it, and it makes me so happy because it's like I don't want to see a bunch of people who are like around the same age as me being hot and like doing hot people things. Like, I want to know that, like, I'm not gonna die when I turn 25, you know? And when I
Right.
see, like, older women just, like, owning it and slaying, even, like, Jackie Tyler, like, I love seeing older women on screen. I think we need that representation.
Yes.
It's so fucking important.
Yes. And she was awesome in this episode too, Jackie.
Yes!
She was
She,
amazing.
Jackie was great. I love Jackie Tyler. Okay. Jackie Tyler is the British version of my mother. I just like that she means very well and she loves very hard, but also just like unhinged and like scattered and like kind of weird. You know, like she just is the British version of my own mother. And I think that like I didn't appreciate that watching it when I was like 13, 14, because I was like,
Yeah.
I hate my mom, I hate my life. But now I'm an adult and I'm like, oh, like Jackie, you know? I like her a lot more than I used to.
Yeah, that's so nice. Oh, she was really great this episode. Well, so she was great this episode, but was she your favorite part? What was your favorite part?
Such a good segue.
Thank you.
I have like a little tiny thing, a little tiny detail. But then there's also like a bigger moment that I really love. Is it okay if I have two?
Oh, of course. I mean, I
Thank
basically
you.
had to. So, it's our podcast. What do you think I'm gonna like beat you to death like our potential British audience? Like, get Sarah saying two favorite things about the episode instead of one.
I don't think you're gonna beat me to death, but I was kind of hoping. No, I'm
Oh,
kidding. I
okay.
wasn't. I'm
I
not into
see.
that. I really don't like. Anyway, so I love that little moment when the Slitheen is like revealing himself. He's like transforming outside of like Mickey's apartment door, and you see like the blue like outline of the doorway, and like Mickey and Jackie are like hiding and like peering around the corner, and Mickey's like got like a baseball bat. It felt like so low budget sci-fi horror, which I feel like was a big strength of the last episode that didn't really carry through to this one in my opinion, but it was like little moments like that where I was like, ah, yes, like I wanted more of it, but it was, I don't know. It was a bit harder to balance that all out in two episodes, which we will get into when we talk about our worst parts. But I wanted to talk about my next best part, which was that last scene where Jackie looks at her watch and counts 10 seconds, and she like walks away because she's too emotional and she can't handle it, like she's upset about this. And then Mickey just like stands for a moment and then like sits back down where he was as if he's like still waiting. Like I love that we see the people she's left behind now. In the first episode, we're swept away. We follow her running into the TARDIS, but now we see the consequences of that throughout the whole episode, but it really is so well encapsulated in that last scene where she is gone and
Yeah.
we actually see what that means, you know?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. These two episodes have been just like perfect for doing exactly what you said. We haven't really been thinking about the consequences of her actions this entire time, but now we see not only when she gets back, but when she leaves again, the real repercussions, which is so, so good. Oh man, you're so right. You're so right. I also wanted to add that what you were talking about being your favorite part reminded me of another moment that I really, really enjoyed was when they're in the room, the
Hmm.
lockdown room, and they're debating on like what to do to save the world, and the doctor's like, yeah, there is a way out, and Rose is like, well, why
Ah!
haven't we done it yet? And he's like, because I can't guarantee that you'll be
No, but
safe.
the way.
Oh my
Ah!
god.
No, but like, okay, the way he doesn't like say it to her though. Like he turns to the phone and says to Jackie, "I can't guarantee that your
Yes.
daughter will be safe." And this is the first time that he has like one like acknowledged outright the true danger that he is putting Rose in, but also just like shown like
Yes.
respect towards Jackie and the fact that like this is her daughter.
Yes. Like you can really tell that that conversation on the phone where she was like, "Can you promise me now that she will be safe?" Like you can just see it on his face, and Christopher
Oh my
Eccleston is an
god,
amazing actor
yes.
because you can just see it like clear as day on his face. Like Rose is still, she's 19. She's like, "I can do it. Like I can handle myself. Like of course it's safe." But you know that he can't run away from it anymore. Like he is being faced with how dangerous of situations that he's putting her in, and like just how young she is and the people that like he is affecting by bringing her along with him. Ah, man, it's so good. And also just how quick Rose is to give herself up and
Yes.
like to sacrifice herself. She's like, I don't care if I am getting hurt, like let's do it. It's just such an amazing contrast between like her and the Slitheen, because the Slitheen are perfectly willing to destroy millions of lives to, make a quick buck. But not Rose. Not our Rose, man. And then Harriet being like, as the elected by the people for the people, I say do it. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
no, she was so needed in that scene too. Like, I like the balance that she provided.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to have a conversation about the doctor's realization of the trouble and the danger that he is putting Rose into, and just how everything has changed, like with Jackie and Mickey and Rose and him. Like, do you have any other thoughts about that?
Man, I just want to like emphasize that look. Like when he gives her that look, it is so serious and heavy and weighted, and like you can tell, you can really see like his age there. Like you can see that he is 900 plus years old, and that he is like this alien, and that she is this 19-year-old girl, because the looks that she gives him are so like innocent. And it's not as if she is like wholly naive, right? Like she understands like the gravity of the situation, and like she wants to help people. She's not stupid, but like she is still a 19-year-old girl from planet Earth who just got introduced to this stuff. There's only like so much she can know. And I think that like, and this thought is like half formed, so like interrupt me if this doesn't make any sense. But I was thinking about this when I was like peeing at work. And
The pisser.
when I was on the pisser, the shitter, because okay, I feel like we have an aversion to like quote like problematic stuff nowadays, right? And at the risk of sounding like a boomer, we want things to be, respectful of the characters that they're showing. And I think that that is good, right? Like take something like Twilight. This vampire is like over 100 years old, and he's pursuing this teenager, and like all she wants is to be part of his world. And there's like a very similar dynamic between Rose and the Doctor on the surface level. But if we were to just declare that dynamic in general problematic and to not portray it, we would lose like so much of what makes this relationship like dynamic and interesting,
Hmm.
because it's just so complex the way that he needs her, you know?
Right.
And I don't think that like we should necessarily romanticize it, but I think that we should like respect it, like for the intrigue that it brings to the show.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Like, it is so, 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 so complex and so interesting. I'm not saying that you should go off and in real life,
No.
like be a 19-year-old with a 900. Obviously, that can't even happen. But, it is just so fascinating, and it is a great example of what fiction can do, like to really think
Yes.
about the kind of person would who needs so desperately the experience and the personality of like a 19-year-old girl. It's crazy. It's so, I don't even know if I'm making sense. Like we're both not making sense together. But
Because the relationship doesn't make sense.
yeah.
And like I feel
Yeah.
like that the show, like regardless of the fact that it doesn't make sense, it is so intense and real, and I feel like the show recognizes all of that, because at the very end of the episode, when the doctor is like giving Mickey the virus and is like, you have to like use this in order to erase like all like mentions of me on the internet. This life of mine is dangerous. I don't want anyone following me. Like, okay, yeah, he's realized that his life is super dangerous, and he's acknowledging this at the end of the episode. But then Mickey brings up exactly what I was thinking.
Hmm.
How can you say that and still bring her with you?
Hmm.
And the doctor's solution is like, well, you can keep an eye on her and like travel with us. I love how Mickey says no.
Me too. Me too. That was
Ah,
another thing that I was going to bring up.
yes.
Like,
Okay, yeah.
Mickey in this episode is, I was kind of a Mickey hater. Episode one, you got me on board with the Mickey Protection Squad, but this really, he shines in this
Yes.
episode. I'll return to the end of the episode in a second, but I do want to just shine some light on how he protects Jackie, who made his life a living hell
Oh,
because
yeah.
she thought that he abducted her daughter, which is like crazy. But the way that he was like, just go, like, I'll take care of the guy, like, You know, he was so willing to put everything on the line for not even just like his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend, but for her mom too. Like he's a great
Mm-hmm.
guy. Like that's awesome. And he is willing, even though the doctor belittles him at every turn, he is still willing to do what's right, you know, put himself in the fray and to do what needs to be done, which is just so admirable. And Jackie too has these traits when she's like, "You can't sacrifice my daughter, like you can't do it." But even at the end, she's like, "I know it has to be done," and she lets it go, which it's just so good. But
Yeah.
yeah, Mickey at the end, like the both of them not coming along. It really illustrates. I mean, I don't know how old Mickey is supposed to be. Do you know?
I don't know the exact age. I think he's like around the same age as Rose, so like 19, 20, maybe
Okay,
21.
around the same age.
Yeah.
Him not having that same drive or that same desire to go out like Rose does. I don't even know. I don't even know what I want to say about it, but it's really good. Do you have more to say about it?
I just wanted to say real quick, I looked it up and he's a year older than Rose, so 20.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on like everything you said. I think that Mickey in this episode really like shown to me as like the most reasonable of all the characters
Hmm.
because like Rose is totally swept up by the doctor. Jackie hates the doctor for what he's done to Rose. And I also want to put out that like for given the situations that both of these characters are put in, their feelings towards the doctor like make total sense.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah.
but I feel like Mickey, he hasn't been traveling with the doctor, and although like the doctor like took Rose away and everything, like he's not her mom. Like it's a different feeling, you know?
Hmm.
Um and he's been doing a lot of research on the doctor because he knew about the whole thing too, which is a different position than Jackie was put in. But
Yes.
I really love how he has every reason to dislike the doctor, and he does. But he also sees that the doctor, like, helps people and that the doctor is the most knowledgeable about the situation at hand. So he's able to sort of, like, balance the two things. Whereas, like, other characters are either, like, brushing him off or and hating him or running off with him and being in love with him. Like, he is very much able to sort of, like, compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
which, yeah, I feel like goes to show like that he is a good guy, a practical guy, and so much more than like he's been given credit for. Like he's not very much not the stupid, dumb guy, dumb human that the doctor like brushes him off as. I feel
Yeah.
like every time he trash talks Mickey is a time when we see just how short-sighted the doctor can be because he is so
Yes.
wrong about him.
Yes, 100%. And I really loved how, I mean, obviously it was the bare minimum, but when Mickey actually finally proves himself to the doctor, and the doctor's like, okay, Mickey the idiot instead of Ricky the idiot. I
Mhm.
was like, okay, girl, you are so dramatic for no reason. Like, you could have just been respecting him this entire time, but no, you need him, so you're gonna call him by his real name and still call him an idiot. That had me rolling my eyes. But it was such a nice show of respect. Respect that he had earned twice over, three times over, but only now the doctor is acknowledging it. And then at the end, when he like pretends to still like hate him to cover Mickey's ass, like when Rose is
Mhm.
like, "You should come join us," but Mickey had said to him like, "I can't do it," and he's like, "Oh well, I don't. We don't need him anyway. Like he sucks," or like some whatever he says. I don't remember. I thought that was such a nice detail.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I loved that moment. It was so like bromancy, you know?
Yeah.
Ah, fuck. I was gonna say something else and I forgot. Oh yeah, just like the power of Mickey and the self-respect that he has to know like what he needs out of life to like refuse the doctor. And also like if he had chosen to go, like he would be an idiot because this guy has been so disrespectful to him at like every turn. Like I really like how he refused to be swept up. But like guys, Mickey Protection Squad all the way forever.
Forever.
24/7.
Keep an eye out for our merch. We're going to make stickers and t-shirts that say Mickey Protection Squad, and it's going to have plastic Mickey on it from the first episode.
Now we're just like making like empty promises that could be filled when we need money.
I love making empty promises. Favorite thing to do. Oh, man. But yeah. Well, now that we've kind of talked about a lot of what we really liked about this episode, was there anything that you didn't like?
Unfortunately, yes. I think that the strengths of this episode really come out in the emotional, like, character moments. As with, honestly, like, every episode thus far, I feel like the biggest strengths have been the moments between the characters, which is something that Russell T Davies is so fucking good at that I never
Hmm.
gave him enough credit for because I was a dumb child. No, I wasn't a dumb child. I love my
You were an
child
incredibly
self.
intelligent child.
I was. Oh my god, no. I want to give her a hug so bad. I really do forgive
Yeah.
my inner child for her mistakes. That was just a little joke. Anyway, but the biggest weakness here. Okay, yeah, the Slitheen, they're a metaphor for politicians, and there's that little twist that they're taking over the earth for money and not world domination. But like, I don't know, did this really need to be made into two episodes? Like, did this really need to be a two-parter?
Hmm.
I don't think it did. I feel like if you take out like 90% of the farting jokes, you would get like one solid episode. A lot of this second episode just kind of felt like I don't know, like a lot of the power that the Celine held was like the anticipation to the reveal of the aliens and like the
Hmm.
mystery. And now that they're here, it's just kind of like okay, I didn't really feel anything. They didn't really evoke any fear in me, but they weren't campy enough to make me laugh. So it was just kind of like a mediocre, like in the middle thing, which I think is like the worst kind of emotion that a show can evoke in
Yeah.
you. Which was disappointing because I really came to appreciate the camp last episode, but this episode just wasn't delivering in that department, and it was sad.
That's fair. I think I agree with you on a lot of your opinion about the Slitheen. Like, they're not great. After the first reveal, they're kind of, blah. They don't really have a lot of danger factor, even though, they got the big claws and they killed the secretary guy. Like, it never actually felt that dangerous to me
Hmm.
because they were kind of just like these things. I don't know. They're a lot scarier when they're actually in their human suits.
Hmm.
Like the woman Slitheen, like she was still in the human suit body. She was scary as fuck. Like
Yeah.
even after everybody else was revealed, I was like, "Oh my god, she scares me." But I actually do like the fact that it is a two-parter because I think that without it being a two-parter, we wouldn't have gotten to see as much as we do of Jackie and Mickey.
Hmm.
I think it allowed for a greater progression of the problem so we could see more sides of reaction to the problem as opposed to just like usually it's the doctor, Rose, and then a special guest, which would have been Harriet in this case. I liked that we got to work through the Slitheen's plot and figure out why are they here? Like, who are they? Why are they here? How do we defeat them? I liked seeing all of that, but I do agree that there could have been a lot that was taken out to make it cleaner and quicker and better paced. But I wouldn't necessarily make it into one episode. I think I would keep it as a two-parter.
Okay, yeah, I think that that's valid. Yeah, you really don't want to cut down on like any of like the character moments. I do think though a big problem with the Slitheen in such a character and like relationship focused episode is the fact that they are not like really directly related to the characters. Like
Mhm.
they're just kind of like
Yeah.
taking over politicians' bodies. Like if they had like taken over like I don't know, I'm just like spitballing here. I don't have like a full flesh idea of like an alien in my head, but like maybe an alien takes over Jackie's body and like Rose and the doctor have to fight to like make sure that she's safe and we reckon with like Rose's relationship with her mother and the doctor sees how
Yeah.
close they are. Like I feel like we could have had like a villain alien that was like more closely connected with like the characters so that like those
Yeah.
moments are like so much stronger or that much stronger. I feel like the Slitheen were like too far removed from the characters
Yeah.
so that the episode ended up being this like weird blend of like highs and lows instead of being like a cohesive episode altogether.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that it exacerbated the issues there were with The Unquiet Dead,
Yeah.
because The Unquiet Dead, it was another one of where we had a lot of really strong character moments, but the alien didn't necessarily mesh with it as well as it could have. I think the only saving grace was the addition of, oh my god, I'm forgetting her name, but the one who was touched and she could like read people's minds.
Gwyneth, I think.
Yes, Gwyneth. I think she was what helped blend the two sides together. You needed like a Gwyneth type character that could bring the two, like maybe if not necessarily Jackie was possessed, but like someone like her neighbor, or like, you know what I mean, like not just the cop. Like
Right,
I
yeah.
totally agree with you. I'm foreseeing that this will be a problem in the future as well, that episodes will have a zany alien plot backbone, but what will really carry will be the characters, and there's going to be kind of an incongruency there because we're already
Yeah.
seeing it in previous episodes and especially in this two-parter.
It kind of seems that like Russell T Davies has like planned out what he wants to happen for the characters and has like a pretty like clear idea of like the progression of like their relationships, and is just kind of like adding in aliens like later on because he remembered that it's Doctor Who. And
It's kind of true.
yeah, but to be fair, like, you know, like this is like the first few episodes of the reboot. I feel they're still trying to find like what they want the tone of this like new era of Doctor Who to even be. And like, you know, like I feel like these episodes kind of need to happen in order for them to kind of like fuck up a little bit and then be like, okay, that didn't work, let's try something new. And speaking of which, I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Oh.
The next episode is fucking phenomenal. So there
Ooh.
is definite improvement. I think they just kind of like need to stumble a bit before they get like a steady pace. So I think that definitely need to like give them the space and the grace.
Yeah. I mean, we are saying all of this, and it is literally episode 5.
Yeah.
Like, I forget that sometimes. It is a continuation of an old series, so there is, like, all this precedent and, like, history. So it feels like there should be more for what it is, even though it's a reboot. Like, it's literally a reboot. So, it's like it's starting fresh. So we need to cut it some slack and give it some grace, especially for like the time that it came out to. TV wasn't good in 2005.
No, oh my god. Okay. Fucking the fact that Rose is a 19-year-old girl on television in 2005 and she is just like in a t-shirt, jeans, sneakers, normal girl with a normal life, like fully fleshed out person. I'm not saying that that didn't exist in 2005. Like I don't think that I'm the best judge of that, but it does feel very
Dude, the
important.
Doodle Bops were on in 2005. Do you remember the Doodle Bops?
I do not remember the Doodle Bops.
There was like an orange one, a pink one, and a blue one, and they sang and danced. Whatever. Anyway, sorry, I just looked up like what shows were on so I could make some comparisons.
Oh my, wait, did you?
And I just got struck by the Doodle Bops.
I remember the Doodle Bops. Wait, no, I do. Oh my god. Okay, yes. That like lazy town looking bitch. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my God. And the Andy Milonakis show. Do you remember? Wow, this is actually a really great era for TV. Bones was on. Classic.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
Wait.
and Supernatural, but we don't have to talk
Well,
about Supernatural. They hated
Supernatural.
women
Yeah,
over there.
Supernatural had fucking awful female characters. Like, I mean, they weren't like, listen, they weren't bad, but like the show just like fucking hated them and like nerfed them.
Yeah,
So that's a comparison to make, especially because Doctor Who and Supernatural are often like talked about in tandem for some fucking reason.
that's true.
I never got that. I understand like Sherlock because you have a lot of like crossover between the two shows with like Stephen Moffat and like Mark, however the fuck, Gatiss, like working on both
Yeah.
shows, but like Supernatural?
Yeah, I never really understood why the three were paired together because I always felt that Doctor Who stood apart from them. I don't know, just because it has so much history.
Mm-hmm.
It's like imagine you're a Doctor Who fan and then you're like, oh, it seems like people are also into these two newer shows. Like, what's going on there? And then you check them out and you're like, what the hell is going on in there? It's scary in there. But also, I haven't watched Supernatural, and I only watched like the first two episodes of Sherlock, so I can't really talk. But
You're fine. You're so fine.
I am safe. I'm safe from the evils of Superwholock,
From the brain rot.
the brain rot of Superwholock.
Now that we've covered, I think we've covered all our bases.
But yeah, that's it for now, I think. As always, I'm Jeanette,
And I'm Sarah.
and this has been Doctor What?
Thank you for listening to us. If you like our podcast, leave a rating. Please give us a good rating.
Or if you're British, give us a bad
If you're
rating
British-
to prove Sarah's anxiety's
No,
right.
yeah, give us a bad rating and then leave like a comment saying like I hate these people. I hate Americans and yeah, just like prove my anxieties, like make me more paranoid. I think that that's like good for the soul.
Perfect.
Bye.